Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Carlos, and in this video we're going to take a look at how I did this effect in my latest film entitled Luft Ballons. If you haven't seen that, I will leave a link right there and down in the description of this video. Let's go ahead and take a look at how I pulled off that scene, but first, and welcome back. So like I said before the intro, let's take a look at this 2D effect. Now, the first thing that we need to take a look at is the lighting. The lighting is almost always going to be the most important thing that you guys are taking a look at when you're making your film. The way that I was able to pull off that flickering is this really cool Aputure MC. And you guys have seen me playing with this in the past. I just haven't made a big deal out of it. If you guys want me to do a video about the Aputure MC, I would be more than happy to do that because this is a powerful little filmmaker's gem. There's a bunch of settings that you can take advantage of. So if I were to turn this on, I'm gonna try not to blind you guys. Here we have where it says fireworks. And then there's some controls here. If I were to rotate this, it says faulty bulb.
Let me know what you know about Illustrator. I want to learn about anchor points and Bezier curves.
TV. Lightning, party, pulsing, cop car.
Don't you leave me, buddy. Wake up, wake up.
Another piece of equipment that I needed is this adjustable clamp. On the Aputure MC, you see there's a little mounting hole, so I'm able to twist that on there. And now I'm able to clamp this onto just about anywhere that this clamp is able to hold on to. Okay, so now that we have filmed our scene and we have the lighting flickering and everything is super dramatic, now let's go and create our 2D effects. I broke this section down into 7 different steps. The first step is we need to find reference. I don't know about you, but I kind of know what electricity looks like, but not 100% sure. So let's go to the trusty YouTube and find our reference videos. Okay, I'm gonna add a link to this 2D reference playlist, and I will continue to add different things to this. I'm gonna be adding things like water and more electricity and other things that I use for 2D effects. So the link to this playlist will be in the description. All I did for this one real quick is did a search for lightning in super slow motion, and I started collecting these. All right, back to the video. Okay, great. So now that we have our reference, now we know what we're trying to accomplish. Let's go to the iPad, because one of my favorite applications on the iPad and for animation just in general is Callipeg. Okay, so here we are in Callipeg. What I'm going to do is create a new shot. I'm going to name it electricity. Okay, 1920 by 1080 is fine. Frames per second, I'm gonna go ahead and drop that down to 12 and click OK. All I did was tap on that number and then entered the value and clicked OK. Number of shots to create is 1, perfect. Standard HD, we can click on that and actually change that to whatever we need, but I'm gonna leave it at standard HD and hit create. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have my pencil brush. Now I'm going to create all of the guides that I need to help make this animation successful. So I am going to come up here and grab my square brush. Okay, so now I'm going to create my phone, and I want to create some electricity that goes around the phone. Let's create a very rough telephone. And then here, what I want to do is go back to my brush and get the line tool. What I'm going to do is try to go to the middle of my phone here, and I'm going to drag down, and you see how I can rotate that line. If I hold my finger down, now it's going to constrain the proportions for that. And let's pretend that we actually have this all centered. So this line here, if we come back to the squiggly line here, we're going to say that this line here is the center of our phone. And the only reason that I have that kind of like that very rough drawing of the phone there is just to let me know how wide I need the electricity to go around. Since this is a guide layer, what I'm going to do is drag the opacity down to just, you know, whatever. And I'm going to double tap my page there. I'm going to drag that out to about a 12. Double tap on drawing and say phone guide. Okay, perfect. Now that we have our guides, let's go ahead and time out the animation. I'm going to come over to this adding a layer button. Let's tap that. Now I'm going to need a new art layer or a new drawing layer. And we can tap that. I'll just say animated voltage guide. Hit return. Perfect. And I'm going to come up to my brush and grab this circle. And I'm just going to create a circle kind of like this. If you come up to the top right, you see this square with the dotted lines. I'm going to click on that. And then over on the left, here's a circle with an arrow going up. I'm going to tap on that. And you see how you get your guides around your shape? What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this until it's centered with that vertical line. And if you notice down here on the timeline, what's happening is I didn't start my animation on the very first frame. So all I have to do is double tap and you see how it turns yellow. Now I'm going to tap, hold, and drag all the way to the left. Now what I'm going to do is grab the right arrow and drag that out to 12. So our animation is going to be 12 frames per second, and it's going to be a 1 second animation. What I can do now is come over to the add layer, and I'm going to hit that little diamond. That is a transformation layer. These transformation guides come in handy because now what we can do is if I tap this diamond with a little sideways S, I'm able to here adjust the position X and the position Y, the scale X, the scale Y, and the rotation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move our guide from the bottom of our animation to the top of the animation. So what I'm able to do is use position Y and drag that to the right to make our guide go all the way down. And you see here, there is a keyframe that was set. And since there are no other keyframes, there's no animation at all. So what I'm going to do is go up to 12. This is a handy little addition that they put on here. All the other numbers are white, and the one that is the active frame is yellow. So what I'm going to do is move over to 12. And now I'm going to take the Y position, tap that circle right there, and you see here on the timeline, it's created a keyframe. So now I'm able to either, I can click on the position Y number and drag to the left or right and move that up and down. And you see how our little green line is being affected. I can even double tap on this number and add, I don't know, let's see what 500 will do. That's going to move it down some, so that's not what we want to do. What I'm going to do is grab that keyframe, tap on it, and now I'm able to drag that down, and that's going to move our guide all the way up. If we wanted to take a look and see what's happening on the timeline, there we go. So our guide goes all the way up. Now what I want my electricity to do is I want it to be a small circle and then to grow and expand up, and then when we get to the top, either I want it to contract or I want it to get small again, or maybe I just want it to like evaporate or something. Now what I'm going to do is create a keyframe for scale X, and then I'm going to click on the 100% and drag to the left. And I can even scale down the Y because I want it to be a little smushed, a little more smushed. Okay, so if we click and drag, we have our circle going up. Perfect. Okay, so then if we get to the middle, which is frame 6, now I'm able to click on the scale X, click and drag out. And now that I did that, now that I manipulated that value, Callipeg automatically creates a keyframe for me. So now what we can do is go to the end of the animation and then shrink that back down. Okay, perfect. So that's gonna come up, it's gonna get big, and then it's gonna get small again when it gets towards the top. If I tap this, you see this handle that happens here? I'm able to move that. And now that's going to affect the easing in and the easing out values of our animation or of our guide. Now let's play the animation to see how the easing has affected our animation. So I'm gonna come up here to the top left and hit the play. I like that. You see how it's taking a little longer at the bottom, and then the higher it goes, the faster it goes. That's a really nice ease in. Now that we have the guides for the animation timed out, now let's go ahead and make energy. And if you notice, our circle is still at 100% opacity. I'm going to unlock that layer, drag the opacity down to, that's good like that, and then go ahead and lock that. If we wanted to, we can even turn off the phone guide by clicking this little eyeball right there, and our phone is gone. So now we don't have all of that extra distraction. Now I'm gonna make sure that I'm at the top layer, and you know that you're at the top layer if you click on that layer and there's that yellow circle around the layer. What I'm gonna do now is create a new layer. So let's go to the new layers, and I need a new drawing layer. Now I'm gonna change my brush back over to maybe an inking brush or something, because I want this to be a little more final. So let's go ahead and tap on our pencil, go up to brush. Notice how the scribble line is just the line. If I were to draw a line, you see how we just get a line. If I tap that again and then tap the scribbly line again, now if I come in here, I'm able to create a shape, but the neat thing is it gets automatically filled with the color that you're coloring with. 2-finger tap to undo, and now I'm able to come in here and actually create the electricity. And what we know about electricity is it's very erratic. Sometimes it's a solid band, sometimes it's a broken up band. Those are the decisions that you get to make as an animator. That's what creates, or that's what informs your style, is these decisions that you make when you're actually creating the animation, right? So that's gonna be my first frame. I'm gonna jump over to the second frame, and if you notice, we don't know what happened on the first frame, so I'm gonna come over here to the onion skin tool. Green is something that has already happened. The red part are the drawings that are about to happen. Let's do a little more erraticness. How about if we come in here and just do like this? Okay, and what if we have it broken up into a few? I can even come in here and add to a selection. Do like this, and we can even come in here and get creative, because again, electricity doesn't care. Electricity does whatever it wants. And if we wanted to add little sparks that come out here, let's do a little bit better job there. Now the color that you use for this animation doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you how we're going to take this animation into After Effects, and we're going to be able to customize the color. So let's take a look. All right, our next frame, maybe we have a spark that came out here. And I'm not being really careful right now. Right now I'm just trying to get a really good idea of my electricity. Okay, let's take a look at what we've created. Play button. Remember how I told you green are the drawings that happened before and reds are the ones that are about to happen? We can come here and take a look. Just in case there's anything that we wanted to change or add, we'll be able to come in here then and add a new keyframe and smooth things out just a little bit. We have our animation done. Now let's get it off of the iPad onto the computer so we can use it in After Effects. What I'm going to do is come up to the top left, and I'm going to tap this gear, and I'm going to make sure that I am in the Export tab. Under Type, if you tap Image, it's only going to render out one image. If you do Sequence, it's going to do the whole animation. So we're going to want Sequence, and then Format. I'm going to do PNGs because I want transparent backgrounds. However, you can come in here and there's a bunch of other things that you can pick. I'm going to do PNG. There's HEVC with alpha. I've played around with that. It's not as easy as just rendering out PNGs. So I'm going to do PNGs. There's export with structure. We don't need that. And export background. We want transparent background. So we want that left off as well. So I'm going to hit export. And now what I'm going to do is tap on AirDrop and then send this over to my Mac Pro. It's going to render out those images. And now we're able to then go to the computer and see what we have. So let's do that. Here is our After Effects file, and we have our test footage on here. And if you want to take a look, if I click and drag, you'll see that we have our flashing lights and our phone and everything cool. What I'm going to do is come over here to the project panel and double click in the library here. And I'm going to go to the desktop, electricity, and click on electricity 0. If you don't see these extra options on your window, chances are you need to click this options button. And I believe it's the same way with Windows. So what I'm going to do is click options. This window pops up and it says format PNG. And the big thing that you need to remember is PNG sequence. After Effects is going to go through and take a look at the images, and it's going to, by name and by number, it's going to find those images and put them in sequence. So I'm going to click open, and since the artwork on our images is black and the background is black, what I'm going to do is click on this button here that says toggle transparency grid. And now you can see our animation, and if I hit the space bar, there we go. So now let's go back to the sparks effect composition. All right, I'm going to take the electricity and drop that on top of the napping video. So now what I'm going to do is go to the napping video and click the lock so we don't make any accidental changes to that. Now let's go to the electricity, and you see how it's black on black, and we don't really want a black electricity. Now I'm going to move my playhead over to where I have that blue light turned on. And what I'm going to do is try to match our electricity a little bit closer to the light that's happening. What I'm going to do is select the electricity layer. I'm going to go up to layer and drop down to layer styles and color overlay. And you see how it automatically turns it red? What we want to do is come over here to color overlay, click that open, and under color, I'm able to select that. And now I can even click on this eyedropper tool and go up and try to select a blue that is similar to the light that is flashing. Click OK. And that's pretty good. One of the cool things about doing this in After Effects, let's say we wanted to start this out blue, I can click this little stopwatch here, click on the color stopwatch, and now we have a keyframe there. If I move the playhead over, I'm able to then click that, drop down to a different color, and then at the end, maybe we want it, I don't know, let's make it green. Okay, so now we have the blue, we drag it starting to turn purple and then orange, and then that starts to turn into green. I think I just want it to be the normal blue. So I'm gonna undo until we get back to our blue. And at this point, we can even add a glow or do other special effects to this. With electricity selected, I'm gonna hit the P key for position. And now I'm able to place this wherever I want to start. And then I'm going to click this stopwatch. And then I'm going to move my playhead over just a little bit, and if I needed to make adjustments to the animation, I'm able to click and drag our electricity and put it in place, and then After Effects will automatically add keyframes. I could even take this electricity layer and hit Command or Control if you're on a PC, and the letter D for duplicate. And now I'm able to take these and reuse our same assets. Let's say you have animation on a certain composition that you want to clear out. What you can do is just come over to the stopwatch that's blue. If I click that again, it turns white. And now all of the keyframes are gone. Okay, here's another quick tip. I'm gonna go ahead and hide these other electricities because I don't want to get confused. So I'm gonna come to this one here, and I'm gonna clear out the animation. So now if we play this, it's just that 1 second loop. Now let's say that we wanted that same animation to play, but maybe a little bit slower. What I'm gonna do is click on that electricity and hit Command, Control on PC, Command D to duplicate. Now I'm gonna move that new animation off to the side. Here's our first one, here's our second one. Now on the second one, what I'm gonna do is do a right click, go to Time, enable Time Remapping, and you see how Time Remapping is now there and an active. What I'm able to do then is stretch this out and then take this keyframe and move that out as well. And then similarly, electricity, I'm not able to stretch that out because Time Remapping is not enabled. But if we play it, we see that that first one takes off and the second one slows down. This is a little bit drastic because of the length that we stretched out the time remapping, but if I bring this over just a little bit, and now you see if we did it correctly, we can have one going up fast and the next one is going up not quite so fast. So you're able to use the same assets over and over again and not just change the color, but you're also able to change the timing of that animation. And there we go. We're able to use our Aputure MC, our clamp, Callipeg, and After Effects to create electricity that we are able to change the color and even the timing to use for our films. And you can use this with cartoons and everything too. This technique is not just for special effects in film. You can use it for animations as well. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you know anyone else that's trying to get into movie making, animation, even graphic design, we do that around this channel too. Send this video on over to them. And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. We're living our life and learning how to tell our own stories. And with that, I hope this video finds you healthy and I hope this video finds you safe. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.